Hi, my name is Pini Shekhter. I'm one of the co-designers for Edge of Humanity. Edge of Humanity is a story-driven survival card game where you, along with other survivors, are trying to rebuild a world that has already ended. You will try to rescue other people and build safe houses in order to become the best survivor. Now, we're going to do a game overview for you today, and let's see. Before we start, I just want to note that the components you see on the table are prototypes. It's close to final product with most of the art, but it's not final. And also the game mat, the player mat over here is not part of the base game. It can be an accessory to the game, but it will not come inside the game box. Edge of Humanity plays similarly to traditional deck builders, only it has a completely different angle on it, because it has a story-driven gameplay at the beginning of each round, and it also has different mechanisms that makes the game a lot more interactive between the players and the game and between the players themselves. Each game of Edge of Humanity will have a unique set of events. These events will tell us the storyline when we play the game. For example, here we're going to play at the epidemic event, and the location we're going to be in is the city. In addition, the game is going to come with 2 more storylines and 2 more locations that you can mix and match as you like with locations and storylines in order to build a unique experience every time you play the game. This makes the game highly replayable and also highly expendable. The game plays in up to 9 rounds and in about 30 minutes, and the players are trying to rescue as many survivors as they can, that you can see here in the survivor row, and build buildings in order to reach a certain goal of number of points, or to even end the game before the 9th round has come. Each round of the game is played through 5 very simple phases. The first phase is the event phase. In this one, we just flip a new event card. We can read the storyline that we have on one side, which is found at the back of the cards, and then resolve the effect of the card. For example, this card is part of the epidemic scenario, storyline, in which each player has to choose between 3 tough choices. They can discard a supply card, which we will see soon. They can lose 2 life out of their starting pool of 7, or they can discard 3 cards from their hand. Now, the pool of life can be depleted. You start the game with 7 life, and if you reach 0 life in any of the game rounds, you will sit out through the rest of the round, and then fill your life back to 7 and come back to play in the next round. The next phase is the action phase. At the beginning of the game and in each action phase, the players will have a starting hand. The hand can be built out of supply cards, actions, and buildings they can build. The 3 actions the players can choose from is playing a certain action card. For example, here the first aid kit will give the players 2 life if they are close to depleting their life pool. They can try and build a building like the safe house that every player starts with, using supply cards. Or they can decide they don't like the cards in their hand and they can just choose to discard as many cards as they want. After doing whatever the players chose, they will have some cards in their discard pile after they use them. The players will then keep the cards that they already have in their hand and complete their hand to their maximum hand size. At the beginning of the game, this number is 5, but it can be more when the game goes on. The next phase that comes after the action phase is the trade phase. You can see here the trade piles that are found, there are 4 of them, because we always put an extra one, so this is set up for a 3-player game. The players will then have a simple, very quick blind auction in which they will take whatever cards they want from their hand that have either the symbol that you can see over here with a bag of money or supply cards, and they blind bid with these cards. The player that wins the bid gets to choose the supply pile that they want. They will have to take the whole supply pile and put it in their discard pile. All the cards they used in order to bid in this phase will go into the waste pile. This makes the game very unique to other games because your deck is not only being built with cards you want. For example, I chose this pile to put in here, in my discard pile. They will also have to compromise in what cards they're going to take out of their deck. So the deck is very dynamic and is basically in motion all the time. It's never the same in two games or even in two different rounds. Then we'll go to the rescue phase. Something I did not mention is what happens when you don't have any cards to draw from your deck. So let's do this now. For example, I have no cards in my hand and I need to draw back to 5. I have only 2 cards left in my deck, so of course I will have to shuffle my discard pile to create a new deck. At this point, what the player will do is they will choose one of the survivors that exist in the survivor row. The survivors give the players scoring opportunities. So for example, the priest over here will cost 4 supplies in the rescue phase that will come after this one, and they will give a scoring opportunity of 2 points. Now, most of the survivors that you rescue will also give you a special ability, which will be maybe a guideline for you to choose the survivors that fit your strategy. So for example, let's say I chose the priest. I take the priest, I put it in my discard pile, and I do this before I shuffle. So now I shuffle my deck and I complete my hand to a hand of 5 cards. Now the rescue phase. In the rescue phase, I can choose one of the survivors in my hand if I have any. For example, I drew the priest, and the priest costs 4 supplies, as indicated here, to rescue, and the priest will give me 2 points and will give me a special ability in future rescue phases. If I have 4 supplies, and let's say that I do, I can place the priest in front of me, paying as many supply cards as needed in order to fulfill the price of the priest. If I did so, I gained 2 points, and I can move my figure 2 points up the scoring track. Now the round has ended, and we can start a new round, drawing a new event, playing another action, drawing cards, trading, and so on. At the end of every round, we need to complete the board in the cleanup phase. When we do that, we look at the survivor row. If there's any empty spot, we will fill it with a new survivor, and we'll look at the trade piles. Let's say that 2 trade piles have been taken and 2 have been left on the board. In that situation, we will add a new card to every trade pile that has been left on the board, and draw up to the same amount of trade piles as we had in the beginning. Now the round is ended and we are ready to start a new round. If any player goes up to 11 points in the base game, the game will end in the round that happened. And then the player with most points will win. If the game reached the end of the 9th round, you will just look to see which player has the most points, and they will be the winner.